Brethren lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Caicedo with Football.London has just confirmed that he was told in January that Arsenal do have the funds to sign both Moises Caicedo and Declan Rice. And he has also said that at the moment, it looks like in the next 7 days, something big is going to be announced by Arsenal. Of course, Josh Watts as well has been speaking about this still on his YouTube channel, and he said at the moment I will be very surprised if I sit here on the next Sunday and nothing has happened with Declan Rice to Arsenal. So in the next 7 days we expect something big, we expect something very huge in that direction. Arsenal looking at Timothy Castagne as a backup for Joao Cancelo. It looks like Ivan Frasunda will be joining Borussia Dortmund according to the recent events. So Timothy Castagne could be the backup to Joao Cancelo if that deal doesn't happen. We'll be talking about that. Gundogan is going to decide on his future very soon. Talking about where he will be playing football after the UEFA Champions final. He said, look, at the moment, we enjoy. At the moment, we dance and we celebrate. And then I will be deciding my future very, very soon. We'll be talking about the Arsenal offer that, of course, we have put on his table already. And Arsenal will be playing in the UEFA Champions League, of course. But we are in part 2 of the Champions League draw. I mean, that actually means a lot for us because if we were in pot 3 or pot 4, it means we would play all the biggest teams in Europe. But being in pot 2 really gives us a massive chance to get an easier group where we can qualify for the round of 16. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let's get this video to 500 likes and talk to me. What do you think Arsenal's Champions League hopes should be next campaign? Do you think it's one of those campaigns where whatever happens, as long as we played in the UEFA Champions League? Or do you think maybe because we had a run for the Premier League, and I don't see any other club apart from Manchester City maybe that has that strong vibe for the UEFA Champions League, could it be our chance to go and say what's up for on the UEFA Champions League? So let me know in the comment box below. So the big story for me, and let's start off with the UEFA Champions League story because it's really intriguing. So that is pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, and pot 4 of the UEFA Champions League. Now, like you can see, Pot 1, Arsenal can play each and every team there. That's excluding Manchester City. So we can play Sevilla, Barcelona, Napoli, Bayern, PSG, Benfica, and Feyenoord. All those are champions of their leagues. So literally, pot 1 is champions of their leagues. Pot 2 is where Arsenal are. So we cannot play any team in pot 2. We cannot play Real Madrid. We can't play Atletico Madrid. We can't play Man United, we can't play Leipzig, we can't play Porto, Inter Milan, and Borussia Dortmund. So we can't play those teams in the next group stages, at least. Pot 3 is where, I think we will play any of the teams in there. There is Lazio, AC Milan, Red Bull Salzburg, Shakhtar, as well, Rangers, Dinamo Zagreb, Nice, and a couple of other clubs. And then in pot 4, which has not actually been confirmed finally, that's where you'll find the likes of Newcastle, Celtic, Lens from France, and a couple of other clubs. So we are in pot 2, and that is very, very huge. It's absolutely massive. It means we won't play Madrid, we won't play Manchester City, we won't play Dortmund, and a couple of other big giants. But anyway, let's wait and see how the draw will pan out in August. Now, the big story as well in this story comes in from Caicedo, who was just confirmed that he's told and he understands that Arsenal will have the money to buy both Moises Caicedo and Declan Rice. So he was quoted by the Arsenal insider, and he said, I was told in January that Arsenal's plan was to have both Caicedo and Rice signed up before September 1st, the transfer deadline. And says there is money there, and I was told that there would be money. That would be the case. The money would be there. And he says, is there money for Rice, Caicedo, and a number of other talented players? Maybe that's the question. But the money to buy Rice and Caicedo is already in play. So that's according to Kaya Kainak, big reporter from Football London. I've followed him for some time now. He's not that kind of guy that is after clickbaiting. He will report something the way it is. I think he reports a lot of Arsenal press conferences, and that's where much of his work is. But look, there will be money to sign these two. I think that's the question that we've all been asking, right? Yes, we want Rice. Rice is going to be up to 100 million maybe. But will Arsenal have the funds then to go and complete another 70 million, 80 million signing, right? In Moises Caicedo after signing Rice. So Kaya Kainak says the plan is to get both of them through the door. And the plan is to, spend the money Arsenal have on that midfield. So the money is going to be there. Maybe 150. It could be 150 because if we spend 90... on Declan Rice, we might have to spend another maybe 60. I kind of feel like Arsenal can press the button with Brighton so that we can sign Caicedo at 60. So it might be in between there. The prices could be oscillating between 150 and 180 million pounds. Okay, I never asked. I never thought Arsenal would never have the money in this summer. We have a lot of income sources that we have opened up by going to the UEFA Champions League. Like there's so many clauses in our contracts with Adidas. There's so many clauses with our contracts with Fly Emirates, and of course we've been receiving very very little revenue from our sponsors because we are not in the UEFA Champions League. Everybody knows that the amount of money you receive from Fly Emirates when you're playing on the big stage in Europe, you're attracting attention from all the countries in the world. It's very different from the revenue you receive from them when you're not in the UEFA Champions League. So more money. It means Arsenal will have a lot of funds for at their disposal. Whether that is the last time that we will spend huge amounts of money, probably yes, probably no. But I don't think if we spend we spend money on 5 or 6 players this summer, we will need to spend another huge amount to bring in 5-6 players every transfer window. It doesn't work like that. So Kaya Kainak says that those two are priority. They will come in, and the money to bring them in is actually available and already on the table. Now, he also says that Arteta wants multiple players who can play in multiple positions. Rice and Caicedo are on top of the list, as Mikel Arteta thinks that they have the ability to play across different positions in midfield, but also away from midfield as well. We've always talked about Deckers as a player who can play in defensive midfield. I think I can see him as a Lodri at some point in time. He can play as a CDM or as a central midfielder, and that's why Arsenal is signing him to replace Granit Xhaka. Moises Caicedo, it is being rumored that Mikel Arteta looks at him as a defensive midfielder, yes, but he also sees him as a player who can play from right back, right? As a player, he can deploy at right back and then shifting into midfield, just like we've seen Thomas Partey in the last few games of the season. I've done that video of how Arsenal could line up with both Rice and Caicedo, and why I think Mikel Arteta wants two players that play a very, very similar kind of football. And it's about playing in different positions. It's about playing in different roles. I think Caicedo can play at centre back. I think Rice can play at DM. I think Rice can play maybe in a 10. I'm not really sure about his creative abilities, and I really don't think he's that creative. But I think if you deployed him there, if you put Rice at right back, if you put Rice at left back, just like Xhaka, he can do the job for you. And that's what Mikel Arteta is looking at. So let's wait and see what's going to happen with especially Moises Caicedo, because the information I'm getting today is that Declan Rice in the next 7 days, in the next 1 week, that one should be done. Now, Charles Watts has been speaking about that deal on Declan Rice, and he's literally echoed what we talked about in the first video today, earlier on. He said, I would be very surprised if I was sitting here on next Sunday and things with Declan Rice have not moved in pretty much, moved on pretty much dramatically. He says this is a deal they have been working on for quite a very long time, and they want to get it done relatively quickly. He says, I would say I'm positive that we will see things progressive in one way or another in the next space of the next 7 days, or if so, not before that. Interesting, very very interesting from Charles Watts. Again, another very interesting reporter from goal.com. Not a very big Arsenal insider, according to the reporting I've seen. Kainak is also not a very big Arsenal insider, but they do talk to sources. They do have sources around the club. And Charles here coming out to say that in the next 7 days or less, there will be drastic improvements in the deal. There will be drastic, provisions of the deal that will be sorted out. That is very close to what Fabrizio Romano said, right? Because Romano said in the next week, Arsenal will bid and we will enter crucial stages. Crucial stages means that you're literally agreeing things. You're literally agreeing upon deals. So talks have been very positive. Charles Watts acknowledges that and says this deal is pretty much done. In the next week, things should be ironed out unless otherwise, and Arsenal should be signing Declan Rice. Now, I don't think he will sign before the international break, because I've seen the likes of Saka and Aaron Ramsdale arriving for the international break for national duty. So I think it's a deal that Arsenal will agree with West Ham, and then after the international break, he will join Arsenal, right? I think he will join us in time for preseason. Caicedo might be the late one. Caicedo might be the one that joins us a little bit later, but Rice will join us in time for our preseason. So that's what's happening on those two deals. Both of them happening, unless they're hijacked. Both of them happening. The money is already in place. Of course, we do have the money, right? How did I forget that we were willing to spend 100 million on Mikhailo Modric, right? And we were also willing to spend 70 million on Moises Caicedo. Arsenal literally had to spend 175 million in January on Caicedo and Mikhailo Modric. The deal just didn't happen. So we are literally getting our transfer kitty in January and maybe doubling up or tripling and, walking around the streets of London, of Europe, just splashing the cash. And that's what you need when you go back to the UEFA Champions League. Ilkay Gundogan will decide on his future very soon. Now, in an interview after the UEFA Champions League final, he said, at the moment, I've not decided yet. I've not decided to stay at City. I've not decided to go to Barcelona. I've not decided to come to Arsenal. But we celebrate now, and later we will be talking about my future. The feeling here for me is with Messi snubbing FC Barcelona because they do not have the money. They're broke rats that want to sign the most expensive player in the world. Now they do have the money to sign Ilkay Gundogan, okay? So, and Gundogan will be a key priority because maybe they look at him as like a midfield transformer, and it could be, right? They're losing Sergio Busquets in midfield. I'm not really sure Gundogan is the guy to do that for you. Not that very defensive, but he's a brain. I think he's very quick as compared to the pace of La Liga. So if he goes in there, he might be a very good signing. But let's wait and see. Mikel Arteta could actually talk to him and things could change. Imagine having Caicedo, Gundogan and Rice. That would be immense. Like, totally, literally, that would be big. And of course, if the Joao Cancelo deal doesn't happen, what we're hearing is that Timothy Castagne is the player Arsenal will turn to. Timothy Castagne is 27. Leicester City have already resigned to the idea of losing him. And we are looking at around maybe 20, maybe 17 million euros for the right back. Now, Timothy Castagne is a player that I do have mixed feelings about, especially during his time at Leicester. Couple of injuries mixed with some bad performances, mixed with some good performances. Not at the level of Joao Cancelo. He's a little bit young, of course, 27. If you can get him to stay fit, I think, we are in a situation at Arsenal where with the right back situation, anything will do, all right? I think that's the problem we have with the right back situation. Ben White is massively a liability at right back. Put him at centre back, I'm okay with that. But at right back, he's a massive liability. And look, I've been watching and rewatching clips of Timothy Castagne. Again, not the top level right back like Cancelo, not the top level talent like Ivan Fresneda, but what he offers as a right back is just basically better than what we get from, Benjamin White. So I still think that Castagna is not a bad signing. I still think that if Caicedo and Rice come in, I'll take any other signings that Arsenal make, because for me that completes our midfield. Our defense is at least all right, and our attack just needs 1 or 2 players to improve in the next 2 years. Okay, so if we fail to get Cancelo, if Manchester City resign to the idea of selling to Arsenal, which might happen, then Castagna might not be a bad shot. Premier League experience, relegated with Leicester City. I don't know how that actually improves this CV for us, but I just said it. And he's 27, so there is some experience in there, right? And of course, we've seen players improve. Look at Matteo Darmian and how they played, and how he played against Manchester City. Matteo Darmian is a Manchester United reject. Like, to be honest, he is a Manchester United reject, but he's played a UCL final. And if Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku had not missed chances, or Lukaku had not blocked DiMarco's chance on the line, which literally was not his job to do, maybe Inter Milan would be champions, and things like that. Matteo Darmian would be a champion. I mean, I'm only saying, right? So Castagna, is he an improvement on Ben White at right back? Yes, he is. Is he better than Cancelo? No. Would I take him over Ivan Fresneda? No. So he would be my third option. And when we do the tier list of all the biggest Arsenal links and transfer targets, I'll share my thoughts on all these players, including Timothy Castagna. But at the moment, if Mikel says he's the guy, definitely he's the guy. But listen, I think the Joao Cancelo deal still will happen. I still have that feeling. It's more like the Alexander Zinchenko deal. I still have that feeling. But let's wait and see if City still believe you can sell to Arsenal and still win a treble. Because when they sold to us for the first time, they won a treble. If they want to win more trebles, then they should sell to us more players. I'll see you right in the next one.